As I mentioned, we do hold a significant amount of this digital asset called XRP, and we will, on occasion, sell some of that into the market. That one generates some incremental funding for us, but it also helps create more liquidity in the whole ecosystem for that digital asset. I won't get into the weeds in terms of how some of our products work, but having liquidity in markets around the world for XRP is a big part of what will make our products over time successful. Serves a dual purpose. We measure our success not on the price of XRP, but on how much value we're delivering to these financial institutions. That's largely a function of, are they using our technology to move money around the world? And that curve is going up into the right really nicely. So that's what really gives us a lot of energy.
Hey everybody, it's Eddie from Tokyo. This is your cryptocurrency update from Japan. And as you saw in that intro, that is Eric Van Miltenberg. He's been at Ripple for about 7 years. He's worked with Brad Garlinghouse too in previous companies. And as you can see on this Ripple organization chart that I have on the screen, he's in the top 5 among the Ripplers that are about 1,000 now around the globe. I bring this clip to your attention because there is a lot of chatter about Ripple buying and selling XRP in the past to move the price by working with market makers and bots, and even doing a little buying and selling. Clearly, it was a method used to reduce the organic rise and fall of the asset. David came out in response to that chatter with last quarter, the total XRP sales by Ripple net of purchases were 361 million versus 226 million in the previous quarter. Ripple has continued to sell XRP only in connection with ODL transactions. Since 2020, Ripple has sourced XRP from the open market to ensure there is a sufficient supply of XRP available for our growing ODL business. We continually strive to minimize undue market impact with our purchases by, for example, limiting how much and from whom we purchase XRP. This next clip has some alpha. It's Eric 8 days ago at the Global Blockchain Business Council. You're going to hear how many customers Ripple has, the number of transactions they've done, and the total amount of volume that they've moved. Have a listen.
Again, I can speak for Ripple. The fact that we have hundreds of customers over the life cycle of Ripple, we've done 27 million transactions, over $55 billion of volume moved. So this is well beyond, per the earlier comments, sort of a test bed or a proof of concept. We're out there moving real money. We have for years.
I chose this next clip because it's about the famous peanut butter manifesto of Brad Garlinghouse, details of the story you've probably never heard. Here's Brad.
And so the second thing I would really push on is focus, focus, focus. Be clear about what outcome you're seeking, and then focus, focus, focus. I think, and certainly this was true at Yahoo, and one of the things that became well known for is I wrote this document called the Peanut Butter Manifesto. And the Peanut Butter Manifesto was really talking about how Yahoo was trying to be all things to all people. I did this exercise at a leadership offsite. I remember actually where we were when we did this at a hotel down in Santana Row. We got 30 or 40 people in the room, and I said, okay, everybody's got a piece of paper. And on that piece of paper, I'm going to say a brand. And when I say the brand, I want you to write what word comes to mind. So at the time, again, this is back in 2005 or 6. And I would say eBay, and people would say auctions. And I would say PayPal, they'd say payments. And I'd say Google, and at the time it was just search. I would go through like 5 or 6 of those. And then I would say Yahoo. I'd say, now don't say it out loud, just write it down. And then you go around the room and ask people to share what was the word that the Yahoo brand represented. And what would happen is you go around the room and some people would say sport, some people say fantasy, some people would say search, some people say mail, some people say, whatever. But the point I try to make is, like, if we as a leadership team are confused about the Yahoo brand represents, certainly our consumers are also going to be confused about what the Yahoo brand represents. And to me, that was the kind of point of the Peanut Butter Manifesto. If we aren't focused on some specific thing, we're not going to be successful at anything. And we're going to be very average at everything. And as companies decide to focus on certain things, be the best in the world at search, then, we're not going to win that. And there are a lot of things that I think Yahoo could have done better in retrospect, but that was certainly one that I think we didn't handle perfectly. So if you're trying to kick off a digital transformation, one, be clear about what outcomes you want. Two, focus, focus, focus. And don't let the new bright, shiny object interrupt you from that focus. I think that's true for entrepreneurial endeavors as well.
I imagine everybody watching this video knows that Ripple is expanding. They've gone into custody. They are really looking hard at tokenization, and they have been moving in carbon credits. They were part of the world's largest deal for carbon removal, and they've set to spend $100 million in this sector. Have a listen to this video that is just about 2 weeks old.
We're kind of at the forefront of purchasing credits and purchasing forwards from different projects. Last year, we invested a significant amount of money. We've actually committed $100 million to purchases in carbon credits or forwards. And we've been funding a number of projects, both technology-based and more nature-based. So everything from sequestration of CO2 and cement to methane capture. There's been a number of projects out there we've been looking at.
I'm going to pop back to that video with Eric in the recent video, speaking to what they plan to do with all those money transfer licenses. I wish I had had this information before I was on Good Morning Crypto last night, because this subject came up.
And we're taking more and more of the complexity on our backs, getting even into the flow of funds as opposed to just providing a technology. So we're licensed now in many states in the US. We have a BIT license in New York. We've applied for licenses throughout the world. We have our major payments institution license recently granted by the MAS in Singapore. So over time, we really want to be that go-to place where you can move money quickly whenever you want, however you want. And then start to layer on these other building blocks, if you will. So custody, I heard was mentioned in the prior panel, super important. We made an acquisition there last year. A Swiss company actually named Medico is now part of the Ripple family. And you can imagine tokenization is on the list, et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, I'll stop there. I'm sure we'll get into more of the details, but that's kind of a synopsis.
And now the mooch, Scaramucci. Yep, he's going to take you out, and he's talking about Bitcoin. Why? Well, because in a bull run, we need to follow what the granddaddy of all the crypto is doing. All right, everybody, do take care. Sayonara for now. Bye-bye.
As you see a swelling in Bitcoin, the grandfather of cryptos, it sort of spills over into the other assets. And so just what happens is you're making profits in Bitcoin, you start to redeploy them into riskier assets. And some of those assets are really not that risky relative to Bitcoin. As an example, Ethereum and Solana are probably now in that big boys club.
The SEC was holding its nose as it approved those spot Bitcoin ETFs. What does that mean for the prospect of ETFs backed by other cryptocurrencies like Ether, like anything else?
You are so nice, because to say that he was holding his nose is such a, he had like a vomit bag under the desk, like when he was like, so you were just such a nice person. But
try to be polite.
What I would say is that he's up against it because he's lost several cases. He will. But
would it take another lawsuit to get there?
I think he will. I think he's decided that the powers that be politically in the elite don't like crypto. They don't like the energy around Bitcoin, and I don't think they want an ETF for Ethereum. And so that May decision, I think, gets pushed. I think it causes another lawsuit. He'll likely lose that lawsuit. And then you're coming up against the election. And so then the real question is, will Mr. Gensler, in a new Joe Biden administration, will he be the SEC chairman? My guess is he probably won't be at that point.
I want to go back to Bitcoin for a moment, because, of course, you made a lot of headlines when you gave a Bitcoin price forecast of $170,000 about 18 months after the halving in April. Given the rally that we've seen, 52,000 above that level, what's your latest price forecast? Are you sticking with that?
I am sticking with that, but the typical thing, what I was trying to say in that podcast was there's a technical analysis that you can do over the past 14 years. The price at the time of the halving, if you multiply that by 4, that's typically where Bitcoin has run to in that cycle. And so I was just using a $50,000 number for April. So this could run up because there's a lot of momentum right now. You guys are seeing that the network is only producing 900 coins a day, and you've got 12 times the demand of that right now, which is why you're seeing a price squeeze to the upside. So I'm going to stick with that price prediction only because I think it's conservative based on where we are right now. And I think people need to understand, look at what happened to NVIDIA, look at what happened to Apple over the last decade, NVIDIA over the last 18 months. It's not impossible now that this asset has been regulated and has this regulatory ETF wrapper around it.
Yeah.
And remember, I've been on Wall Street. This is my 36th year on Wall Street. Wall Street sells product.
Yeah.
And these products are sold and not bought. And you have armies of people now that are putting these products in people's portfolios.
Yeah.
And it's very limited demand for an asset like Bitcoin.